Hello and welcome to Aging Matters. This is a show that is provided by and sponsored by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. My name is Ann Barlet. I'm the Public Advocacy and Outreach Manager for the agency. Our show today is going to be focused on NAMI Berks County. So my guest today is Cindy Quinter, who is the Executive Director of NAMI Berks County. Thank you for being here, Cindy. I appreciate you coming and sharing your wonderful information about NAMI.
NAMI. Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Now, I'm going to say NAMI a couple of times, so I think I'm going to actually spell it right as we start.
Okay.
N-A-M as in Mary, I, so NAMI Berks County. And I'm going to lead in with, I'm understanding that NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, good.
And
Okay.
you're pronouncing it right. NAMI
okay.
or NAMI.
Okay,
Either
it
or.
doesn't matter. All
It
right,
doesn't
good.
matter.
So what is NAMI?
NAMI was, it's a grassroots organization that got started in 1976, and it was due to a bunch of mothers sitting together who had children who had mental illness. And at that time, there was nothing out there. So it was like, okay, what can we do for our children? And that's how it got started, at a kitchen table.
Okay.
And it has grown. We are now the largest grassroots organization in America.
Wow,
That's
terrific.
Yes.
It's good and I guess bad. We don't want the service, but if we need it, it's good
It's
to know.
there, yes.
It's there. And I understand that it is really dedicated to bettering the lives of those with mental illness.
Yes.
Focused and helping and bettering in any way they can. So bringing it here to Berks County, so there's the National Alliance, and so does
so it
Berks
kinda
County
works
kinda
like
get
this.
started and being part of the alliance?
There is what we call our national, and national is in Maryland, and it's the National NAMI, and in each state there's what they call an NSO, and that's the person that's over, and ours is called the Keystone, and it's in Pittsburgh, and they oversee affiliates. And depending on how the community is run, in Pennsylvania right now, there is 27 NAMI affiliates. And they run strictly off of what is given from the national down the pipeline. And we're constantly advocating for, with the legislator on changing laws, finding new treatments. That's what the major big thing that we do.
And so when did Berks County begin becoming affiliate, I guess?
Like in the 1980s,
Okay.
and they started with Grandma. They were part of Grandma, which is Greater
Reading Mental Health
Alliance. Yes.
Okay.
And they started there, and I think they were there until about 2010, and then they moved to 640 on Center Avenue. Now we have moved, we have grown so much, now we're on 30 Liberty Street. And it started at one time in the 80s, my understanding was it was mostly like doctors from the hospital who had family members who had mental illness.
Okay.
So they got together. And because it is a nonprofit organization, we help everybody. You just walk in the doors and we do whatever you need to get you to understand there's hope.
Okay. And so it's, I know in just looking up information on the website, which we will tell people how to access because there's some good information on there, kind of looking at different aspects of that mental health arena in terms of educating people.
Yes.
Advocacy, as you
Yes.
said, is part of that, and rallying for legislation or bills or appropriate things, treatments, whatever. And I guess it is, as it relates to those doctors starting support groups for, the need for engaging in support groups for individuals, whether they have that mental illness or people who are in some way associated with somebody
Yes.
with that in our community. And so I think there's various aspects that I believe our viewers probably aren't familiar with, all of the different things that NAMI here in Berks County
Can do.
can do.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I guess let's start with, talk about the different programs first that you're offering through NAMI.
Okay, first of all, let's talk about, when we're talking about our programs, if you go on the NAMI national website, you can see there is literally hundreds of programs that you yourself can educate yourself. They do a lot of webinars. So that's a good thing in that you can constantly keep up with the newest.
And do you have that website to share?
Yes, the website, let's see, let me find out which, it is NAMI, let me look down through here because I had it. It's NAMI Berks. You go on to namiberks.org.
Okay.
And that will take you in to the different areas. And if you join the NAMI program, you really, and that's something to talk about because that opens up, if you join the program, it's $5 for a person, it's $5 for an open door. So it's an unlimited use. Then $40 for an individual, $60 for a household or a company. But out of that, you get all this learning, you get certificates when you finish different classes. We offer classes in person, and I'll get to that, and that's what we were talking about. When the summer is over, we will start our family-to-family class, peer-to-peer, and the NAMI home front. And family-to-family, think about it this way. It's someone who has a loved one with the mental illness. You don't, when they're in the hospital or coming out of the hospital or they've been in any institution, jail or whatever, you don't always know how to talk to them. So you may say something that will trigger, or you might not say something. So this teaches you about their mental illness, how to talk to them with the support of other people who have walked in your shoes. So it gives you hope that you
and
can.
Something to grasp and
Yes.
learn so that you have a good understanding and feel more comfortable engaging.
Right, because you have support. People are there. Our other group is the peer-to-peer. That takes, both of these take about 8 weeks to do. And it's 2 hours on a Saturday or whenever we decide it's. And that is for a person who is what we call in recovery from mental illness. So they know they have their mental illness, and now they have learned the tools, what sets them off. So now they can take the class, and then they can become facilitators. And by facilitating, they would facilitate the connections class, which we give all the time, but that's people living with the diagnosis. You don't have to have, let me back this up, living with a mental illness, you don't have to have a diagnosis. If you feel like you're depressed, or you feel like you're having anxiety, and the bottom line is 1 in 5 have a mental illness at some point in their life. And as we're coming out of COVID, we don't even know yet what the effect of this is going to be. So by having these classes and being with other people, you don't feel isolated. You don't feel alone.
Well, and I think it's empowering the person, to learn more for themselves and to feel comfortable sharing maybe their feelings or how to maneuver and getting that connection to the other person, and yet be able to do that without maybe making it more formal. With some doctor or somebody making a referral. I have to talk to this person to go to this referral to see this person. I don't want them to know. It's a nice,
personal.
I'll call it personal and informal way of managing or kind of beginning
And what has happened in this group, when I first took over, there was 5 in the Connections group. Now we're running, I'll tell you how it's running now. We have 4 groups that meet the first and third Monday and the second and fourth Tuesday, and they're running about 20 people a group. Because they have found that in the middle of the night, instead of calling crisis, because sometimes it's just about having somebody to talk to.
Sure. Yep.
They have made a connection.
Oh.
So they pick the phone up and they talk to the person they've made a connection with, because that person has been there. And I've even had them say, even though I see my therapist and I see my psychiatrist, but I get more out of this.
Sure.
Because you know.
And are extremely comfortable, apparently. You know, that you have to feel comfortable and trusting with those same folks.
And you said it, trusting. That's the big word. And we also, the number one thing we try to do here in Berks County is do away with the stigma. The stigma of it. It is okay to have a mental illness. Like I said, 1 in 5.
Wow.
That's a big number.
Yeah. It is.
So we're constantly moving and changing and adding groups. We also added an LGBT group strictly for the safety reason, so that they have a place, and the peers that are running that, or the facilitators, they are LGBT, so they can come and tell their story. And it's not talked about when it's left. Once you leave the room,
That's good. Yeah.
it's a secure and safe place, because their story is different than my story, different than your story. And so we're working on that, and we're also working on what is called the 4th generation trauma.
Oh, okay. Tell us more about that.
Dr. Jackson, we have partnered with the NAACP, and she is teaching about 4th generational trauma. Trauma, you carry trauma from your parents.
Okay.
They carried it from their parents and from their parents. And it takes 4 generations for you to say, okay, I want this to stop. But that trauma that has been brought down from 4 generations is still there with you. But if you don't want it to carry on with your children, then you have to address it.
Oh,
So
interesting.
this is one of the things we're learning in the new mental health system with NAMI, is that our generations, 4 generations back, is affecting us
Wow.
today.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
And so what are you doing with then, Dr. Jackson, or what's happening with that
We
program?
we have partnered with the NAACP, and we are going to start. She had given a lecture for 6 weeks, so now we're going to start with doing the program with the NAACP, where we'll start reading her books. She will come in and talk to us, so that we then can bring this out to the public. And everybody will be able, once we get this set up, will be able to come. We're going to buy books so that the books will be available. Remember, this is a nonprofit organization. We pay for everything. We don't want you to take anything out of your pocket. We want you to know about your mental health. And also not your mental health, but your physical health too, because that affects your brain. And a lot of people
Absolutely.
don't think about that. That's the one thing we're working at, and we're also working with RAP, trying to bring RAP in and within our school districts.
And what does that's initials that stand for something, right?
Yes, I don't
Is
know
that
enough about it.
R-A-P-P?
It's
or-
WRAP,
Okay.
just like it's.
Okay, all right.
We have somebody training right now for that. I don't really know that much about it, but that's
But
going
you
to
could
be.
find out if you're a school student through the
Yes.
school district.
We're going to bring it into the schools. We're contacting the schools. There's so much going on in our schools right now. Our children need help.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Trauma.
Yes.
There's the word. Trauma from COVID. Trauma from whatever their parents brought in. But so that they recognize and they can help their fellow students. And hopefully we have one young man that wants to do a podcast, tell his story.
Oh.
So he can actually help. And these classes that we're going to start is that we do in the schools is like NAMI Ending the Silence. That means that you tell your story.
Okay.
So people can relate to it. And then in your own voice. And that's training people. It's all about training and learning. Because mental health is constantly changing all the time.
Sure. So I'm going to go back to, so when we started with programs, you had the family-to-family, the peer-to-peer, the connections,
Yes.
and now you're beginning to focus on some of these other groups. You had some support groups, I'm sure.
Yep.
Are there, I don't want to miss any other programs, or are there other services that you
Yes.
do have, provide, or direct people to that are kind of also participating in the programs maybe?
Yes. We see, like the ocean,
Oh, okay.
support, educate, and advocate
Oh, I'm going to write
for
that down.
every person who walks through our door or makes a phone call.
Yes.
It does, when you call, you're reaching out for something. Maybe you don't even know what you're reaching out for until someone talks to you. And then you start to realize, okay, this is what this person needs. So once we figure this out, that's what we start working with. You know, is it housing that's causing the mental illness?
Okay.
Is it they don't have enough food? Are they not able to get a therapist? Are they not able to get their meds? Are they physically sick? Do they not know how to get a hold of a doctor? It's anything that they, so we do everything. We're a one-stop shop as far as like helping connect them with the providers that they need to be connected with. And due to, in this county, Berks County, we don't have enough therapists, we don't have enough psychiatrists. So, and I'm not saying that, but having the connection group, at least they have a place where they can come talk until we can get them in with a therapist or a doctor so that they can get what they need. And they're not just floundering. So we have that, and then we have, and that's called the connection group. It's 4 groups at 6 p.m. the first and third Monday of every month, the second and fourth Thursday of every month. And that's for a person that is living with a mental illness. And then we have the NAMI support group, and the NAMI family support group. And that's for families who have a loved one that may be incarcerated, they may have autism, it may be mental.
Are these support groups all in person?
Yes.
Okay. Could anybody join if they couldn't get there, like say via a
Yes.
Zoom, team, something?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. We try to do it more in person because you get more of a connection.
Sure.
But our support, the family support meets the second and fourth Wednesday of the month and the fourth Monday of the month.
Okay.
And then we have, like I said, our LGBT. And then the other thing is we also, with the groups we have, we do a social. And the socials are we may go out to eat, we may go bowling, we may do an art class, we may do a charades, whatever that everybody in the group thinks would help them.
Okay.
Because a lot of people have isolated. This is a way to keep them.
Or to feel comfortable in, being out and accepted in that group, to be able to do some of those things. And that occurs anywhere. If I'm an elderly person wanting to go to a senior center,
Yes.
I'm still hesitant. I don't know them. They don't know me. I don't know where the things are, and so there's that in everything. But I can imagine it would be equally
somebody
as hard.
holding your hand.
Yeah.
That it just helps you make that step. And then we do Circle of Friends. We go to Circle of Friends We go the second and fourth Tuesday of the month.
What is that? What is that?
Circle of Friends is an organization. It's basically, they feed a lot of the homeless or people that don't have income. It's part of the county, and it's up here on 5th Street. So we go there with them because a lot of them don't have transportation. We will bring our group to you if there's enough people. We're now going to go into the Y with them. We also started NAMI on campus, and that's at Penn State Berks and Kutztown, so that they will carry forward with this and help the young people as they're coming in, that they can do away with the stigma.
That this exists, we can help, we can talk, we can educate, we can support.
Yes.
Okay.
And we help them and we educate them, and then it's passed down. And our dream is to educate the kids that are in college, and then they come into the high school, because kids talk to kids before they do adults. They go in to the high schools, they make the transition there, and the high school kids then go into the junior high.
Okay.
And I think that way
And wouldn't it help with the college students? Hopefully you can get them in that right curriculum so they can come out and work in the fields that you're lacking in terms of the psychologists or psychiatrists, the counselors.
And you're absolutely right, because this draws them. And plus I think they get some kind of, when they're seniors, there's something that they get out of it that I know that Penn State's working with.
Oh, okay.
And we then, if any kids want to just come that are high school kids, if you need community service hours, you can call, because we're always doing event tables all over.
Okay.
So you're welcome to come help us with event tables, get your community service time. You can do stickers. There's all kind of different things that if you would like to get your community service, you can give us a call at 610-685-3000.
Okay. I have something here I wanted to ask you to talk about is the drop-in center.
Yes.
So tell me about that. I realize it says drop-in.
Yep. This
But tell me
was,
again, where is it?
it's at 30 Liberty Street.
Okay, so it's in the NAMI area.
Yep, in
Okay.
Shillington.
Okay.
It's Grace Lutheran Church right there. We're in the back, and you just come in, you drop in. We have TV, we have computers, we have a library.
Oh, okay.
If you need help with your Social Security, looking for apartments, drivers, whatever you need help, or you just feel lonely and you don't want to sit in your apartment all day. There's always somebody in there, so you can always have conversation. There's games, or if you just want to sit by yourself and watch TV, but you don't want to be by yourself. And we find this a lot. Some people come in and they just sit, but they know that they're welcome, they feel comfortable, and they make friends. And that's a big part of it.
That's nice. We only have a couple minutes, so what else in terms of, I guess I want to also find out involvement. If there's somebody out there, we talked about opportunities for people through education to learn more, the support groups, you'll hook them up with some resources or help with, if it's applications, direction to other resources, the drop-in center, these other programs, the relationship with the campuses. If somebody's listening and says, that's a great organization, and maybe there was a relationship to somebody with a mental illness or themselves, but maybe not.
Yes.
Is there any way that people can get involved with NAMI?
Yes, and I would love that. I would love that. There's so many different ways. We have.
You started to mention about, helping at those kinds of things, but tell us how else we can be
we
involved.
have, if you want to find out what's going on with NAMI, go to NAMIBerks.org. We have an email. It's, if you like to email programs NAMIBerks.org. And that's Fido. He's our programs manager. So he takes care of all that. We have a Facebook. We have an Instagram. We have a Twitter. We have a LinkedIn. And then NAMIBerksPA.org.
Do you have a phone number?
610-685-3000.
For some of us old people.
Yes, look,
I'd rather just call.
and I love to hear people's voices.
And
But
so what can we do to help NAMI in terms of our, if somebody wants to say, do you need help doing this? I mean, you accept not only, you accept individual help at an event probably.
Yes.
I'm assuming you mentioned nonprofit. Will you accept donations? if
We
people
would
wanted to-
love to have donations.
Okay.
We're a nonprofit, so we're a 501c3, so it's a perfect tax write-off. You, by giving to us, you're giving to your county. You are changing your own county. If you look and see how many homeless people that are out there, and that's mental illness. And a lot of people will self-medicate because of their mental illness. If we can stop this, our county will change. And this is everybody.
So let's mention the one thing that you do have coming up. There's a special
Yes.
event coming up. You want to share that quick in the next minute?
Absolutely. We have a 5K run coming up September 9th.
Okay.
If you go on our website, you can see it. We're looking for donations. If you donate, and you can see the different types, I think it starts at $250 and go up, but you can also just be a runner. But we will put your name, we will do whatever. We're going to put billboards up with the highest person who donates. But we would love to have our runners come out and meet with us.
And that's September
9th.
Where will that be?
That's over in Gristmill. Is that
Gringsmill?
Yep,
Okay.
behind the.
Okay. Do they register ahead of time? Do
Yes.
they register by calling NAMI?
You can
or
call
LinkedIn
NAMI,
or
or you
Facebook?
can. Why don't you call NAMI and
Okay.
speak to Vito at 610-685-3000.
Okay.
He's got all the information on that. And if you don't want to run, if you just want to come hang out and be part
Or
of.
maybe help you if you need help that day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anything, and if you have any ideas, if anybody out there has any ideas, we would love to hear them. We want to change mental illness. We really want to learn to love and live with each other.
Well, and I love the C. It's the support, educate, and advocate.
Yes.
And that kind of sums it all up as far as the purpose and the reason to be here, and,
Yes.
and happy to have it in Berks County in terms of at least some advocacy going on, some education going on, an area that people can feel comfortable reaching out to,
Yes.
and knowing that they're not going to be turned away,
Nope.
and that there's a variety of things to help a lot of people in terms of dealing with it in one way, shape, or form, living with it. And
Can I add one other thing too?
Sure.
If you have a child that has problems that has an IEP, we also have an advocate that is willing to help with the IEPs.
oh, all right.
So that is just something for people to know. You can call that number again, and they will give you the information, and she's wonderful with helping with that.
Good, great, all right, thank you.
thank
Well, I
you.
appreciate you being here with us today. Take the time to share all the information about NAMI Berks County. If anybody missed any of your information, they can certainly call me. Again, I'm Ann Barlet. I'm with the Berks County Area Agency on Aging, and our number is 610-478-6500, and just ask and we'll provide you with this information. And right before I sign off, I want to let people know that are watching and tuning in that our agency is tasked with assisting with a 10-year master plan on aging that the state is developing, and our area agency on aging will be having listening sessions in the near future, probably in August. Please stay tuned. We are inviting all community members, basically an older adult, 60-ish and older, to help us develop and share that information so the state can develop a plan for a 10-year plan on aging and the services and
Wow.
programs needed. So stay tuned for that, or call our agency for those listening sessions that we will have throughout Berks County. Thank you for tuning in to Aging Matters.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure, thank you.